So what I want us to do is to start becoming more conscious, start choosing things in a better way for ourselves, and start creating a life that's going to gear us to really take advantage of the opportunities that are going to show up for us in the years to come.
This podcast is brought to you by the Integrated Human. We work up, down, inside out to plug yourself into your potential. If you want to see what we are up to and what's next, sign up to our newsletter or follow us on social media. If you like what we are doing, we really appreciate it if you can like our post on social media and YouTube and help us grow.
All right. Welcome to the Big and Small Podcast. I'm Jason Shields and I'm big.
And I'm Marit Galbraithsen, and I'm the tiny one.
Yep. We were just discussing mannerisms and how people roll how they roll because they are who they are. You know, they face difficulties in life.
Often the same ones,
Often the same ones
dressed in
over.
different colors.
Exactly. Well said. And they adapt strategies. And Marat has definitely underlined and highlighted one of my strategies because my hand is so big that it's difficult to get in bags of chips and bags of cookies. So I have like this.
Or like, the Fisherman Friends.
Yeah, Fisherman Friends bags. It's like it's not enough room for these fingers, right? So then I have like the cookie claw, the cookie claw that comes in. So, and as I've done jujitsu, my knuckles get all weird because that's what happens in jujitsu because you're
your
gripping.
fingers.
Yeah, you get damage to your
Yeah.
hands. And it turns out that I have like a cookie pterodactyl that comes in and like swoops in and snags cookies.
Look like it's a claw.
It's a claw. Huzzah!
Huzzah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cookie claw.
The cookie claw. Yeah, well, if
And
you're
I'm
gonna
sorry, I just have to say, because I never understood. I having difficult seeing I don't see that I'm smaller than Jason, for instance. I have issues seeing size in relationship to other sizes. It's huge, but I can't see it until I have something very tiny next to it. Always get surprised when I look at photos and it's like me, you, and Rutger, our good friend, and I'm like this. I'm so short, and I'm like, what the
yeah,
actual? But I can't see it.
yeah.
I don't see that I'm smaller than the 110 kilo guy. Can't see it at all until I sometimes look at my wrist and I go, it's tiny.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand the difference in our hand size until we were decorating the gingerbread house for Christmas. And in Norway, you have nonstop, which is
Like
basically
M&Ms.
like a M&M would
Yeah.
be the ish. The size is at least the same
Yeah.
ish. And you use, of course, powdered sugar to attach it to the house. And you were getting powdered sugar on over that thing. I'm like every nonstop Jason has touched had like powdered sugar all over it. I'm like, how? It's so tiny in your hand. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
It's like I can't actually like put it on there without covering the whole thing. It's like impossible. Same thing. Like the other day, I remember I was shocked because you were eating peanuts, and you would break the peanuts in two.
Yeah.
And eat half a peanut.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even know how to eat a peanut. Like like a handful of peanuts.
And then you have a peanut.
Yeah.
That it has when you have then you're gonna have two halves, right?
Yeah.
And one of them gonna have this tiny bump on it.
Yeah.
So then you have the joy of breaking off that bump, and then you split it in your mouth, and then you have this nice crease that you break the peanut in. So every peanut is four pieces, or 2 or 3 pieces.
I have never had that experience. Like I eat peanuts by the handfuls, like
no,
by the clawful.
by the claw. No,
Yeah.
1 and 1.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Digression.
Digression.
We digress.
We digress.
Yeah, but snack claws are important.
Yes.
Wanted to talk about an experience that I had. We were on a course in Rome with a watercolor painter named Thomas Schaller. He's an amazing guy. We were hosted by what's called Rome Residencies, which is a company that puts on world-class art instruction in Rome. So you can go there and you can get a lot of um, guiding. You are shown art and churches and cathedrals and all kinds of beautiful things while you're in Rome. It's quite an opportunity. And something struck me when I was getting instructed by him, right? And this is kind of the thing that you need to know about yourself and you need to know about others for you to get a maximal amount of progress out of the people that you're working with. Um, so if you're an up and coming person and you're looking for a situation where you're learning something new, you would like to find a teacher, right? Somebody who can kind of uh, give you information, right? That's a teacher. Teachers transfer to you information. A mentor teaches you basically how, shows you how, because it's not just information, but it's like, okay, this is how these things are applied in your everyday life, right? And then you have a person who transcends that and becomes basically a source for information. And that's a very interesting thing because a mentor is very personal. You know, they've walked the walk, they've done the process, and they take you on as a mentee and you take them on as a mentor, and then you work very strongly together to try to get maximal growth in you as a mentee. But becoming a source is very interesting. Thomas Schaller is a source. He's a source of watercolor. And if you don't do any painting, I understand that you may not understand that, but painting, like everything else, is an infinite game. And then at some point you become a master and you go from being a master to being a person who has a very unique expression in that thing, whether it's jujitsu or business or it's going to be painting, and this guy has
Knitting.
that. Or knitting, exactly. He kind of has a breakthrough way of expressing light in his watercolors, watercolor painting. And the very beginning of the course, he said something that to the to begin with almost felt like it was like he didn't care,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
So he's like, "Okay, listen."
Was it directly to you or to the class?
No, it's to the
Okay,
class.
to yeah.
Yeah, so it's a state of his being in relationship to teaching, right? And and I need you guys to listen to this whole thing because in the beginning it sounds like maybe he's not really a great teacher, but he's a great teacher. Okay. So he said, "You're all on a course and you paid to be here. Relax. Because I know that you want to show me that you're good and you would like me to make you better and you would like to learn from me. But I've done this a lot and I've understood that you learn better if you're relaxed. So your job here is to relax and have fun. If you want to show up to class, show up to class. And if you don't want to show up to class, don't show up to class. I am not bothered whether you show up or you don't show up." And you're like,
Asshole, sorry.
"Okay, yeah." You're like, "Okay, if you're a teacher, then you should be, and if you're a mentor, then you should definitely be kicking the door down and get my ass out of bed to get me in class, right?" But he's a source, he's not. Now, and we'll get back to it in a moment. And then he said, "Well, and if you wanna work on your drawing and not on your painting, then draw."
This is from the world-class watercolorist.
Yeah, the world exactly, a world-class painter, and I'm like, "I'm here to learn painting, what you
Mm.
talking about, homie?" And it's like, "And if you wanna do the projects I give you, do them, and if you don't wanna do them,
Don't.
don't." "Okay." And then he was like, "And if you would like me to look at your stuff, show it to me, and if you would like me to answer any questions, ask me. I'm gonna be doing the project of the day. I'm gonna be giving a little bit of instruction and orientation in the mornings, and then we're all going to go paint. So, you know, be easy, have fun, relax. It's your week, right? So if you're expecting a teacher, you're like, hell's to the no, no. You're going to be painting? You're going to be painting and not watching me? Well, first of all, if he's world class, he's like one of the top three in the world right now
No,
in
he's the one
watercolor.
that's alive, isn't it?
Yeah, he's alive and
And two others.
he's alive and he's also teaching.
Yeah.
Like he's teaching, right? So it's amazing. It's an amazing opportunity. Thank you, Rome residencies. So I look at this and I'm like, So I have to go through some rounds. So he's not a teacher. And then I go through some rounds again, and he was talking about people that he's been following up for about a year. And I'm like, yeah, I want to be followed up for a year. So let me sign up. And he's like, actually, I'm no longer doing that. I'm sure there's a market for it, but I just can't be bothered to do that anymore. It's
A
like
lot of
it's not my
responsibility.
thing. It's a lot of
A lot of
responsibility, and
responsibility.
as we know, showing up and being present there and committing and organizing your life around it. And I was like, "Oh, that sucks." And he was like, "Well, I'm sure there's somebody out there that wants to do that job." And I was like, "Damn." So he's not being a teacher, he's not being a mentor in this situation. And then I realized something after like 3 or 4 days of the course. I was getting much better. I was getting great results because I was getting hints and tips and watching him work and working and all of this. And I got a master's eye because he is a master of his craft on my projects. And he said, in the end, he's like, wow, that one you should sign and put on the wall. That's good. And getting that from him is amazing,
Mm.
right? But I realized that he wasn't a teacher, he wasn't a mentor, he was a source. And the source means that you're a channel for the expression of whatever you're doing, whether you are doing jujitsu or business or chiropractic or painting or whatever. And those are the people that are special and unique and powerful to learn from because you're not given so much of information or doing this, but rather beingness in the craft. And you can only get that from a person who's a master of it and has become a channel, a pure channel for that. And he did. He had become that. And I realized that that was enough for him. He no longer needs money. He no longer needs people telling him he's great. He no longer needs more contacts. He no longer needs, he does this because that's just what and who he is. And that is the manifestation of that channel that we were talking about from up, down, inside out. When you really have created a psyche and an emotional state and an expression from yourself that's integrated and that's direct, man, it becomes perfect in and of itself. And then a lot of the things that you may have used to build the channel can just be dropped and let go, right? But it was very interesting for me to be there and just watch my own mind want a teacher. And then I wanted a mentor. And then I realized, oh, it was much better to be around a source. So I enjoyed it thoroughly and got great results, right? So it it made me think a little bit about the way you've been, in a way, coaching me back. That
I always love it 'cause Jason's been my mentor for many years, and it's been a mentor-mentee relationship because it's kind of to the fact kind of pulling you out of bed to get you to that thing you're gonna show up for.
yes.
It's quite intense, but, when Jason had great teachings, I sometimes still have been able to say, "A great man once said."
Ah,
It's very good feeling.
yes, yes, yes. And then
I then
she
referring to Jason, of course, like he kind of was asked the question.
uh,
It's not Plato I was referring to.
and I get
Uh,
boomeranged. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. And it's really cool to have people in my peer group like you, Marat, that I can be supported back like that. That you guys have become sources and you're a source for sure. And it's so nice to be able then to gain that momentum with you, you know. It's really amazing, and that was really the thing, it's like, if you're gonna give everything, but let's say that you give 1,000 units of yourself to a person, but they can only take 3 units. You're wasting your time and energy, right? Give them 3 and, or even better, find the people who want to receive from you and can receive a lot, and then allow them to receive what they can receive. But in any case, just because we want everybody to become a world-class water painter, we don't want that, but I'm sure at some point Thomas Schaller wanted to give that to people, that everybody's gonna be world class. But some people just wanna futz around on the paper with, some
Some
colors.
people just want to get drunk in Rome.
Yeah, some people just wanna go and
That was
roam,
me.
roam,
I I
right.
had I had a vacation down
Yeah,
there,
well,
so
that was it. You were allowed. You were
I was
allowed.
having
That was
vacation.
your job.
That was my job.
Yeah, and it was an enjoyable job?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a great time.
So, yeah, sorry.
But how many,
I don't ask how many units.
no, 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 no. No. No, no, no. Like, how many kilometers did you walk?
20 kilometers a day?
Yeah,
No, 15. 15.
15 plus, right? And then of the 900 churches in Rome, you probably hit
5. No, I
5.
think I hit 15.
Yeah, probably 15,
St.
right?
Peter's Cathedral being one of them.
Yes, it's amazing
Yes.
there, isn't it? When you see the wealth, and the same thing when you're on Palatine Hill, you see how the Caesars and the emperors lived on Palatine Hill in Rome. And they had heating in the floors. They lived in palaces that were 4 stories high and had servants' quarters that were, 2 or 3 levels below ground, and they I mean, what we have today for palaces was in no way, shape, or form better, or I would say more comfortable than what they had it. It was so interesting to see it, and they've been able to dig up a whole bunch of stuff and reconstruct the floors, and you get to see how they lived. It's insane. Nobody today lives better in relationship to an average person than them, because the average person back then had no health information, had no, understanding of sanitation, had no understanding of, keeping the roof, not leaky, and, there were just it was it was squalor, it was horrible, and then you have this insane, super clean, super, super comfortable, palace, right? So the difference there is bigger than what even Bill Gates could try to achieve compared to an average person on the planet. It's amazing. So it was it was humbling to go back and see that a person with 2 eyes and 2 hands and a beating heart in their chest were living like gods back then. And not that that's a goal in itself, but it was just the imagination they had to have when, they were just s almost Stone Age everywhere else on the planet. It's crazy. So what was it that you enjoyed with the experiences that you had while you were walking through?
It's too big of a question.
Yeah, it's too big.
Yes,
Um,
I can't answer that right
yeah.
now.
But did you get a lot of, uh
Steps, yes,
you got a
but
lot of
I
steps?
I can't. It was too much.
Yeah, exactly. It probably takes years to digest it. It did for me. The first times I went there, I just it's just layers and layers and layers of history and burying. Oh, I got busted, um, uh, on one of the fountains. That was kinda cool. I was like, "And here is like this Bernini fountain. It's amazing, and it's the
Four
the
Seasons.
Four Seasons." And I was like, "I don't think so.
I think it's the Four
I
Rivers.
think it's the Four Rivers." And I was like, "Really?" Because the last tour that I went on, they said Four Seasons. No, it was the Four Rivers. It was totally the Four Rivers. And if you saw a picture of this fountain, you would recognize it. And it's interesting that Italy has had such an impact on art and on society and on culture for so many years that what we consider classical art is very much from that place and from that era. If you go through the big churches and you see the Caravaggios and the Titians and all these amazing painters. You see their paintings hanging in churches. You can walk in for free to see them.
Yeah, there's no protection. You shouldn't steal them. Just
Yeah,
not saying that,
exactly,
but
but there's no
there's
protection.
no protection
Yeah,
at all. Well,
it's
maybe there's some that like you can't see. I shouldn't say,
maybe.
but it's not something that you can just walk in.
Yeah,
It's quite interesting
it is, and
and highly recommend.
yeah, highly recommend not stealing, but
Not stealing.
walking and having the experiences of being in this atmosphere of culture and art. It's amazing.
Mm.
But there are more and more people there. It is unbelievable. Like the amount of people in Rome this time at low season was about the same as was there in high season 10 years ago.
Oh, we had we had hit mid season.
Yeah, that's
May is
so
mid
from
season.
low to middle season, right? Because I couldn't believe how many people were there.
And you and C were coming. Oh my god, so many people! Like, is this many people?
Yeah,
There
exactly.
wasn't few. There was a lot of, but from pictures I've seen in Rome, it looks very
Oh,
natural.
yeah, and people go when it's hottest there too, like, when it's in the middle of the summer and it's, 103 degrees Fahrenheit or like 45 degrees Celsius. It's insane, and it's just packed with people, and just think the wear and tear. And I thought it's such a place where people collect. I wonder if it was that way back in the old days. The people were just wanting to be in Rome because of the culture and wanting to be in Rome because of the technology and the amazing environment that they provide. It's hard to know. I don't think it was the gelato or the limoncellos. Yeah, and that's another thing. Um, when I was there painting with Eirik, Marat's husband and amazing colleague, we were in Campo de Fiori, which is a great market. And it was very interesting because one of the ladies there, she was a hawker. Basically, she basically pulled people into the restaurant. Um, so as you walk by, she's like, "Oh, you need a limoncello, you need a aperol spritz, you need carbonara. Come in. We got the best this in town." I've never seen a person work harder than that person right there, and she never stopped. And what I realized was that because we were sitting there painting, so we were quite quiet. So we got to
And
observe.
you sat there for hours.
Oh,
Taking a making a painting takes
hours.
time.
Yeah, it takes time. We sat there for hours, and I got to watch the different people working in the different restaurants pulling people in. First of all, they weren't fighting each other. That's number one. They were part of a pack. They just wanted like anybody who walked into Campo de Fiore was going to sit down in one of the restaurants. That's number one. So, and they knew that if the first guy asked and they said no, the second guy asked, maybe the third one would get a yes, or the fourth one, because you're kind of wearing down people's resistance by asking and asking. So they were not competitive with each other. They did everything they could to have a good tone between them. So when there was a little bit of a dry spell where people weren't coming through, they were joking back and forth. So they kept their energy high because they needed high energy in order to pull people
Mhm.
in. And it was just so interesting to see the dynamics of people who were living that way. And that's a hard way to live. And these people stood there 12 hours a day, pulling people in, 12 hours doing nothing but getting rejected. It's insane, you know? And then you see how they're asking people, asking people, asking people, and then they're asking one person, and that person's saying no, but maybe somebody else comes in from the side and sits down. So you never know when you're putting effort out into the field, you never know when the return on the investment is going to be there. Because if she hadn't been standing there talking, that person getting rejected, that person may not have noticed the restaurant. So that's another part of it, that when things are difficult in your life, it's so important to continue putting the effort. Try to cooperate with people around you, even if they are quote unquote your competition. Number one. Number two, keep your energy up, keep the tone light, keep yourself focused. And number three, know that even if one person says no or one event doesn't go the way you want, know that it will go well in the long run when you're putting out that kind of energy. So I just thought that was such a great experience, as I'm doing my little doodles, you know. So so being in Rome was quite the experience.
Mm.
So I'm glad I was there with you and Ida Conceive. I had a great time. So remember, you matter. Unless you multiply yourself by the speed of light squared, then your energy. But if you can't be energy, matter.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you felt we added something to your day and hopefully your life. If you want to learn more, subscribe to our newsletter and find us at integrated-human.com. That is integrated-human.com. Integrated Human on YouTube and other social media platforms. Have a great day and thank you again for listening. Love, light, and upgrade from us at the Integrated Human team.